even hear the intro.
I know.
No thumbs up. Thumbs up. Didn't even get to hear the intro song. We're waiting all season 2 to hear it. Not So Tender Podcast, season 2. Holy shit. How was your summer, Kelly? Just kidding. We're not going to get to that yet.
No.
Season 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've been realizing we don't say that enough. So, down there and subscribe, I think, is over here.
One?
Well, mine's be over here, and then like it and all that shit and share it. We took some time off for the summer. We're back. We have a lot of new... The set's new. Looks new. I don't know if you noticed. It's not the same. If you listen to it, maybe check it out on YouTube's or the Ticks to the Talks. But we changed the set. We've been working on some stuff. We took in some questionnaires that we took from people that watched the podcast and listened to it, and we're going to apply some of them. Other ones, fuck off. We're not changing anything because you're dumb. Especially people who don't watch podcasts that want to tell me how to do a podcast. It's fucking hilarious. Have you had those people? They're like, well, I don't really watch podcasts, but I think you should do that. I'm like, well, that's weird. Super weird. So anyways.
Do your research.
How was your week, Kelly? School just started.
School started. My kids are back.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
You like them being in school? They like being in school, I'm sure.
They do. Yeah. I'm going through the at-home mom summer transition, though, of
getting
what do I do
situated.
with, yeah.
I'm
2
sure
days,
a lot of people struggle with that,
a week, I'm home. Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you have clients right now that are like, I don't know what to do?
Yeah.
Really? Clean your house, lady.
I have clients right now that, like, cry.
Cry?
Cry.
I do, too.
Yeah. That they're like,
Because I'm hurting
I
them.
don't, no. But they're like, I don't know what to do.
I haven't had anybody
or
cry in
I
a
only
while.
have- Really?
Yeah, they don't cry because I'm tattooing them. They cry because they're just having an emotional moment.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No. I always
I have
tell them,
a
I'm like,
box of Kleenex.
you are the first one, but you will likely not be the last one based on like my agenda
Yeah.
for the day.
100%.
But
Cry all you want. Get it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to cry, right?
fall is super hard for people. If you guys go back and watch season 1, like we talked about how summer elevates people's moods
Yeah.
and gets them going. First of the year, new year, new me, into spring and into, hot boy summer or hot girl summer.
Yeah.
People are hooking up and getting into relationships, and now
They're planning for Christmas.
yeah. Well, and like, are you meeting my family? No.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not meeting family, like, what are we doing? Like,
Are we serious?
It is the second half of the year where people look for commitment and do temperature checks, and it
gets rough.
it's hard. It's hard. My caseload is generally pretty sad and or confused right now.
It's hard. Fall's my least favorite time of year. Always has been.
Everybody hates you right now.
But everybody goes, oh my God, I love fall.
I love fall.
I don't think they do. I think they're trying to tell themselves that. Maybe some people do. They love pumpkin spice for sure.
It's probably my least favorite part of fall.
Yeah.
Look, now they hate me too.
I know, right? Don't say that. She was joking.
Sorry, I'm
totally
just kidding.
joking. She loves that shit.
Totally
Yeah.
your basic white girl. I
Yeah.
love Uggs and pumpkin
I had
spice.
pumpkin spice white chocolate pretzels the other day. And they were really good. They were subtle. It was subtle. It wasn't crazy.
I don't like anything pumpkin.
No. That's all right. So, fall's coming. My one friend says, don't ever date a girl after Halloween. He says, wait until after Valentine's Day. You don't want to date anybody through the holidays. It's too soon. Because it's too soon to be invested in all that crap.
Too much pressure?
Yeah, because then you got to go see their family. You got to buy them a gift. You got to do all this shit.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I can
I say if you
definitely
need somebody, you
see
need to go
it.
hang out with them. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Right. I'm gonna
Lots of things.
maybe because I'm close with my family, so
Yeah.
I feel like that's a decent default. It's like I'm not we just started dating or just started talking, so like I'm gonna see my family. You do you.
Why can't you bring a new person to your family, though?
I don't know. My family has never been that way.
I heard a fucked up story the other day that this lady, she got a divorce, and she hasn't dated in years. You know, her kid's in her mid-20s, graduated college, all that shit. And all of a sudden, she starts talking to this guy. And they're all cute. They're talking all the time, because that's what you do when you first start,
Sure.
And then they kind of, something happens. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the one sister goes, listen, if you get back together with him, he's not welcome at our house. I was like, you don't even know him. Like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, cool. Even if I wasn't dating him, they're like, why aren't you coming over for Thanksgiving? I'm like, well, I'm dating Chuck again. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not even dating Chuck, just to avoid the house. Like, who would do that to their sister? Lots of people probably, right?
Yeah. No,
that's shitty. Can we talk about? Let's talk about that.
Okay.
We don't have a subject. Here's our subject.
Sure.
This is our first show of the season, so we just kind of get reacquainted for the season, people. So then we start doing some real digging. But what would you say when families get involved very quickly into who you're dating? Like, they want you to date, but then you date and they try to control it.
So that is a common denominator in therapy, is either they have like some sort of like standard timeline, like you're not meeting anybody until 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, whether that be your children, your parents, your siblings, whatever. So that's pretty common. And then there's always like the narrative of my parents will either be overly critical, they can never be happy for me, or my parents will be so gung-ho because they want grandchildren that like it makes it awkward.
It does make it awkward when you keep having conversations about somebody ejaculating in you.
I know you're weird about people's sex lives. But like then siblings or friends can sometimes they're like the jaded one. You know what like they can't.
I won't date a girl who's got a mean friend who hates men. Nope.
Yep.
Nope. I don't want nothing to do with them.
A sister might even be worse.
I try to get only children.
Thomas.
I wish that wasn't true, but it
they're
just
the
happens
worst,
that way.
though. Forgive
No,
me.
they're not.
Yes, they are.
Do you think only children are the worst?
Absolutely.
Well, they're not really only children. They have other siblings just from not that union.
Yeah. No, actually,
They're not really only children. Do you think just a single only children with no other siblings is the worst? This is brave. Whoa, walk it back.
I know. So I believe very strongly in birth order. And so
if you're the only child, are you the first and the last?
If you're the only child, you organically don't know how to share. You don't know how to take turns. You don't know how to put other people's needs ahead of yours, or how to collaborate, or how to compromise.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Well, I mean, she has younger siblings. I'm trying to think people I've been with that they have other little siblings, so they're fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think you're a shitty person or you're not. I mean, your birth order probably has something to do with it, especially when you have other siblings. But
yeah, no, I mean, just because I think my schooling was so heavily focused on like systemics, so like I'm oldest female, so like stereotypically there's a super high bar, like surprisingly higher than most oldest male. Yeah, because you naturally are given or take on like a motherly figure.
Yeah,
as opposed to like
do both.
Yeah,
even the men
right. Yeah,
it.
Sure.
I mean, my grandson, he takes really good care of his little brother.
Yep.
He loves him, man.
Yeah. So
he picks out his clothes. He helps him get dressed. He's a great big brother, man. We're lucky. Yeah, I think when families get involved, I think that's a huge thing in a lot of relationships, because sometimes you'll stay with somebody just out of spite because somebody close to you.
Wrong.
Yeah, because don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Or
I'll be damned if you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people stay in relationships a lot longer than they should. And not just that. If you come to your family constantly with problems, well, that's going to lead. How do you expect them to be nice to them at Thanksgiving? I mean, that's hard. We've talked about that before.
We have. We've talked about that. I've talked to clients about that. And I have a person in my personal life right now that I'm like, it's really hard for me to like your partner.
Right.
Because on a daily basis or every other day, you are calling me, I mean, best case scenario, bitching. Worst case scenario, like crying. Like I don't like them. I don't like them for you.
And it sucks because you're getting one side of it.
Sure. Yeah.
You're getting one side of it. And then they're like, why are you being weird about blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, you told me that you did this, and this, and this.
Right.
Yeah,
like I'm now texting you asking you if like you're okay. Are you safe? Like not that I assume that they're that you're unsafe, but like you're planting seeds in my head as a clinician. So like I always kind of like take a step back and be like, the average person who maybe doesn't have the skills to stop their thinking errors or stop from catastrophizing would have the police at your door.
In that cry wolf shit.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes people less empathetic towards you. And it makes people really just go, they throw their hands up like, I can't fucking help you.
Yeah.
You know, and that gets,
right.
I don't think people realize that too. Because I think the only time they got attention sometimes when they're young, well, I'm asking. I don't know why I said I think. It's because I don't really know.
You have
But
a
I would
hypothesis.
assume that if the way you got attention as a young person is by being hurt or being in trouble, you would continue that as an adult with your friends and other people, because that's the only way people rally behind you. Like, you need somebody to rally behind you.
Yeah. That's fair. So again, I would argue that I guess my theology like focuses on birth order. So like if you are constantly in need and in high demand of support in any capacity, that could trickle through.
Right.
That either I'm doing super phenomenal, but I need reassurance or validation, or I'm constantly struggling. A lot of the younger in birth order, if you think about the babies, usually,
I'm the baby.
well, no offense,
I don't even know what you're going to say. It might
but
be
like
offensive.
the babies tend to be higher need, but not always get their needs met. So either they while out or they kick and scream and they either get their needs met or they kind of get their back turned and they're like, they either figure it out on their own or they
I'm trying to think of
like
the
get
youngest,
catered to or enabled.
the youngest people I know, and in my family, I definitely was kind of left to figure it out.
Your parents tired?
Well, they had a lot going on in their personal life. You know,
Right.
my mom was a single mom, and my brother and sister were definitely putting her through the paces as teenagers. And she just knew that I would make reasonable decisions, and I did it most times, and sometimes I really didn't, because obviously I got a girl pregnant at a very young age. So that.
But
really,
did she even know?
No,
It like that that's the thing.
I was
like
feral.
yeah.
But my mom loves me, and my mom was a good mom.
Well,
but
yeah.
in that, it doesn't take long for a 16-year-old boy to fuck up.
No. Hours.
Yeah. And we didn't have
Minutes.
the internet. Okay. So I didn't have I had a rotary phone.
Right.
And I still was able to get a girl pregnant at a very young age.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that when you're seeking that out, like going back to what we originally were talking about, when your sister's saying, if you talk to him, he's not welcome. Well, that's saying that your sister's not welcome there. Like, I could understand if he was beating her. I could understand, like, I don't know the whole situation, but
Sure.
I'm going to assume it was premature. And it just,
In-
it sat
in
with me
most
funny.
cases, yeah.
And I was just like, why would you say that to someone?
Older sibling?
No.
Not.
No.
You don't know?
I don't
or,
think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Close. Even if not, they're
Yeah.
close.
Sometimes people,
Power
what I've
thing.
noticed, sometimes people, they pick their hill that they want to die on, right? And they're like, that's my hill. I'm not going to stand for infidelity. I'm not going to stand for
Right.
insert literally any conflict topic.
But do you think she's saying it because it makes her feel like she's advocating for her sister too? That
Maybe.
could be.
I would say one of two things. Either she's advocating for herself, her siblings, or likely
picking a
her
fight.
parents.
Just
No.
picking a
Yeah. I mean, like, it does, in my clinical belief, stem from somewhere. Most people don't just like decide one day that they're like offended by things. So like,
Well, they do
it
if they
just-
saw it on the internet.
Well, maybe, but like
Suddenly.
even that is like a mustard
not
seed
real.
that's planted that then culminates into
hard to
something.
grow
So
mustard.
right.
It's hard.
Have you ever grown mustard?
No, I find myself buying a new mustard every
Every time. I'm
holiday
actually
to
almost
make
out of
deviled eggs.
mustard.
That's the only time I use it. I had some good mustard the other day though, on a corn dog. It's pretty good.
But yeah, so like I guess my thought is if she said he's not welcome here, one of a couple things happened. It could have been that individual exhausted her ear.
Yeah,
That was like
I doubt
going time after time after time after time. And I will say, even as a moderately emotionally intelligent therapist, sometimes I get burnout that I'm like, it is getting really hard to empathize and have compassion to somebody who is hurting somebody who is dear to me on a consistent basis.
Right. I think they've only been talking for a couple months. So I understand that too. Because if somebody keeps telling you the same shit over and over again.
The same stuff over and over and over and over.
And go about your chores.
You put them on speaker. And I have done that to people who I truly care about, that I'm like, I can't.
I'm lucky. Man, I'll be honest. I really don't have any people like that in my life right now.
I usually don't. I have one or two right now, which is out of character for them. Yeah. But I had COVID last week, and I had COVID.
Justin had COVID
2023.
Too. Justin did too.
Did
you get it from Beyonce, Jay? He's gonna talk. Where did you get COVID, Justin? Oh, I'm kidding. He didn't get it from Beyonce. It was a joke.
Kidding.
No. He's around a lot of
crew
people.
Member.
I'm kidding. Not from Beyonce. He got sick way after Beyonce. Stevie Nicks. I'm kidding. He didn't get it from any of those people.
Listen, I don't go anywhere or do anything, and somehow I got it. I was
crazy.
super sick, and then I got better, and then I tested positive. So anyway.
How sick were you? Did you get COVID the first time?
I did. So actually almost 2 years to the day. So my birthday was Sunday. Today is Tuesday.
I said happy birthday.
I know. I'm telling the the nation, the world. The world. My birthday, my second annual 36th birthday was 2 days ago.
Nice.
But anyway, 2 years ago, my husband and I went away for like a rock festival for the weekend, and I was convinced I got COVID after crowd surfing through COVID in 2021.
I'd imagine you're either pregnant or COVID.
Well, thank God for COVID.
Yeah, real second base.
Right. So, yeah, like that was almost 2 years ago exactly. So this is my second time testing positive.
I got you.
I was super, super sick for like 36 hours.
Jay was sick for what, 4 days? 4 days.
Yeah. No.
He was sick. He scared me.
Ooh.
So when you wonder why it took so long for us to get back on air, these people were sick.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're feeling better.
Everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better. I've been talking to a lot of people about what's the most important thing to them in a relationship still. And I'm still amazed with their answers. It still is baffling me. Yeah, well, no. I did have a girl the other day, or last week, and she says she wants like vulnerability from him. She wants to see that from him. And
did you say, tell me more?
Yes.
What's that look like?
Yes,
What's that look like for you?
And we talked more about it. And when I asked her, I said, well, why is that so important to you? And she really struggled to say it. But she was emotionally like intelligent, and you could tell that she was like, why am I asking for that? And I said, I can tell you why most men are afraid to give it to you. And,
do share.
Yeah, well, men are afraid to give it to you because you could very easily weaponize it and use it against us, because we've had people do that to us before. It's hard enough for us to share it and feel vulnerable.
Who has done it?
To me?
I'm like in general. So I only have a woman's experience, and so I'm genuinely curious. Right.
I have definitely had men that say, I shared this one thing, and every time there's an issue, she has to bring this up and make me feel bad about it, or make me feel like I'm less than. I know a guy that was sexually abused, and she fucking brought that up in a fight, and I was like,
I guess that's like, so when my clinical brain goes to like worst case scenario, I go to like abuse or abandonment.
Right.
And like, obviously there's more, but like off the top of my head, like those are the two most common things that could be weaponized. And most of the time, that's not the reason for the issue. Like, people hold that tried and true, but like bring up everything other than that. And people who weaponize like and go for the jugular,
I was like,
that's a whole nother level. And like, it's not that it's unheard of.
Well, why would I want to share anything with you that if every time things aren't going your way, you're going to bring that up and make me feel like, well, I'm not sharing anything with you.
Yeah.
I've definitely dealt with things that like where I'm doing better at vocalizing when someone does some things to me like that. Not necessarily that, but you want me to act a certain way and then I do it and then you try to like make me feel bad for it or you make a shitty comment about it. And I've learned to like actually say something now where before I'd be like, ball it up, throw it away, who cares? Now I'm like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to do. You know, it wasn't easy to do. But like, why would you say that? And I've noticed in that like talking through it and I'm
in the moment? You say, are you getting to the point where you can be like, hey, that wasn't...
I had nothing to lose anymore.
Yeah, like, that's honestly, hitting below the belt.
When you have nothing to lose and you have no...
That's a way to learn.
You're raw.
I mean, like, and it's a sucky, shitty way to learn, but it is a way to learn that, like, I've, you know, pulled back all my defenses and like that, or I've exerted all of my defense. Like, this is all I got.
All I got.
Why would you do that to me?
So... I've had moments where I've, you know, I mean, if you watch the last season, you can see my entire life unfold in real time. Yeah. And things that I learned about myself.
Last season.
And things that I'm learning about myself. But I'm also learning this, and this is like the catch-22 for men. Girls don't want sissies. They want tough-ass dudes.
That's true.
They want men.
I have learned that this break. Yeah. It has been a whole, like, recalibration for me of, like, oh, so we're confusing. Like, and like, I know we're confusing, but like,
breaking news.
PSA.
Tonight, Northeast Ohio.
Tonight on the Not So Tender podcast, women are confusing. But like, we want vulnerability.
The fuck's that even mean?
Well, I say we, as somebody who identifies as female, like, we want vulnerability, but we also don't want weakness. And what I do think our society has done is equate the two, which is
our
is
grandfather
not,
swung too hard the other way.
Yeah.
You can have a little bit of both, but I'll be honest, if you had to pick one or the other, you wouldn't prefer the vulnerable.
Well, I saw a whole documentary a couple weeks ago about how in the U.S., like culturally, we raise young boys to become men, but the description of men is what to not be. Don't be weak. Don't be emotional. Don't cry. Don't this, don't that. And we don't tell them what to be. Like, what is a man?
Oh, trust me, I got a whole conversation about all this shit.
Right. So we just say, like, hey, don't be this. But then additionally, the things that we equate to being not manly are feminine.
Nobody explains anything. Everything
Don't be these things.
No,
Sidebar. Episode 2.
Summer.
Everybody.
I have had an angry summer because
I have had the most awakening summer.
Oof. I'm so frustrated because people talk about, like, when I ask people and they go, well, are we good relationships about communication? I go, what does that mean? And they stutter. They have nothing. And I go, you can't even communicate to me.
Yeah, no.
And I don't live with you. I'm not dealing with your family. I'm not dealing with your friends or your kids. If you can't communicate to me about what it even means, it's the corniest shit I've ever heard. And I literally believe that the least amount of work we put into something and we want the biggest results. And I've been talking to people and they just look at me like, oh my God, I've never had anybody tell this to me. And I'm like, so when you say communication, why do you need this communication? What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so communication could mean a lot of different things. Yeah. Communication be like, hey, I'm going here, don't worry about me. Because some people really worry where someone's at.
Sure. They have a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear.
Baby. I'll be back. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Just so you're okay. There's some way to, communicate about stuff. But then there's also like, do you want communication so you have power over that person? Because that's creepy. That's abusive. Okay?
Control.
Right.
But control, there's a difference there because, like, this is a huge, as a clinician, as I continue to treat individuals, children, teenagers, couples, I have a caseload. I think my youngest is 12. My oldest is probably mid-50s off the top of my head. And about half are couples. The other half are like individuals, but even those half are men and women. Like, I mean, I have a very diverse caseload right now, which I love. But everybody's goals are different. And so when they say like communication, I'm like, what is that? I don't even know.
They can't even tell you.
Tell me.
Do they tell you? Barely.
Most of them can't.
Okay, so ready? If you have children and you're talking about my relationships, you have grandchildren and you think you're like helping them, like, good relationships about communication. Ask them, what do you think that means? And you ask yourself, what does that mean? Before you tell them some shit like that. It's like saying, be a good patriot. What does that mean? It's such a blanketed, generic. It's like send prayers. What the fuck's that mean? You don't know. I mean, like, honestly, like, you're not being specific, and you want good goals. When you can't even explain it, I get so pissed.
I think, so in a society that is so heavily focused on mental health, which is, theoretically phenomenal.
Sounds great.
Sounds fantastic. Every single couple that comes to me, or I would say 90% of like my caseload says I need to work on communication. What they're always focusing, and I will use like an absolute, like always focusing on, is how they can communicate their feelings effectively to somebody else, which is like a third. Most people at this point, like over the summer, I've realized like it's, again, if you refer back to like last season, like relationships are not 50-50. It's 100-100. Communication isn't that way either. Like, it's not just about you expressing yourself effectively. It is, I would say, 50% minimally dependent on how they hear you. So every single person on my caseload right now, intake gets I statements I have created, and I don't want to pretend like I've like recreated the wheel. I'm sure it's very similar to things that other people have created, but like a complex I statement, like I feel blank when blank, semicolon, and I would feel blank if blank. So like it's change culture.
Yeah. Can I?
As well as a reflective listening statement. So like if you and I were talking, you might say like, hey, I'm really disappointed that I came home after working 10 hours and the dishes are in the sink still. I would appreciate it if someone, not me, and like that's not passive aggressive, but like if someone could do the dishes before 10 p.m.
Right.
That would make me feel
they made.
Yeah, right. I would then say, in a lot of situations, I hear you're pissed when the dishes aren't done. And you would be prompted to say that is not what I said. I'm not pissed. I'm just I'm disappointed, or I feel disrespected, or I feel taken advantage of. Like
a lot of things. Irritated or whatever.
A lot of things. And so I send I statements, reflective listening statements, and an emotional grid. I found the most fantastic emotional grid.
So it has name.
It has 8 or 9 different emotional columns, like categories.
Like when you go to the doctor and you're hurting.
Yeah, with like the emoji.
Yeah.
Right. But so here's why I like it. It has different emotional columns. So it's like happiness, sadness, anger, confusion, whatever. And then in addition to columns, it has rows. So like high intensity, moderate intensity, and low intensity.
So 1 to 3.
So that you can effectively and accurately.
That is really a grid.
Right. Like,
yeah.
So if I don't have a lot of emotional vocabulary, I might walk in and be like, you guys freaking piss me off. But like pissed is a high intensity word.
For some.
Versus like.
Some means that you're drunk.
Right. Well, like versus like irked. Like I'm irked that there's.
It doesn't matter how you say it to somebody. You could say it nice as hell to
Sure.
somebody. It doesn't matter. Some people it doesn't matter. You could hand it to them on a silver platter and be as kind as you can be about it, and they don't react in a good way.
That is why communication is two-sided. So like when you hear people say, I just want to work on communication, do they mean
I'll tell you what they mean.
Can't identify?
You ready?
Or their partner isn't hearing it?
I'm going to tell you what people think is communication. I'm sure you already know this. I'll tell you people what y'all think communication is. You think communication is talking to your mate and telling them what their fucking problem is. and that you communicated what you need and what they should do. That's not communication. Communication is explaining to them what it looks like for you to make it better. And are you even justified in that act? And is it even possible? Stop getting frustrated at people because they don't understand you. How about figure out a way to speak to them like you would someone who couldn't speak your language, or someone who was deaf, or someone who was blind, to explain something to somebody or make them understand it, or a child who can't really communicate. You wouldn't just throw your hands up in the air and give up. But you don't give the same grace to the person you want to marry and love and trust and want to protect your brand, but you don't give them the same grace. You'll say that you explained it to them, and I'm a good communicator because I explained it to you. Well, if I don't understand it, and I can understand a lot of things, but there's some things that don't quite make me understand them just because you said them. So if you're just barking out things and thinking that's communication, until someone understands you and goes, I've never seen it that way. I worked on communication very hard this summer, and there were some huge breakthroughs in it for me. And I sat back with that person, and we were like, wow, that actually makes more sense. But it wasn't the first time explaining it to them or them explaining it to me that we got it. And there's a lot of frustrating moments in that.
Yeah.
But not giving up on that and just going, well, they're a fucking idiot because I told them what I needed. And I told them, like boundaries. We're going to talk about boundaries too. Y'all can take some boundaries and fuck off with them. Just to let you know, because you watch TikTok and you think boundaries are dope. I'm going to tell you what boundaries,
Thomas,
what
you're
I
so
realized.
spicy.
Oof. Dark summer. So listen, when you have boundaries, you think it's for other people? No, you have to react when they fucking fail you because you're more than likely giving them a boundary they're never going to fucking keep. So remember that when you set a boundary and they don't keep it, you better keep your end of it because that's truly who you're setting that boundary for, is your response to their fuck up or their lack of keeping your boundary. Nobody talks about that.
No, well, so I have talked about that a lot this summer, or I guess reiterated and reframed it to multiple people that you can only set your own boundaries. And that sounds so cliche and so simple,
But that's not what they're picking up on TikTok.
I know. But like in relationships, and I can speak to clinical relationships that are on my caseload or people in the past or personal references or like my own marriage or my ex-marriage. Right. Like it's, you get to decide what your boundaries are. And if challenged, then your job, your commitment, we've talked about that. Your commitment is to compare your boundaries to your partner's and find out where the overlapping gaps are.
There has to be a follow through.
Yeah, right. So there could be compromise. There
should be.
Maybe.
I'm saying,
sure.
You shouldn't be married to someone that you literally can't compromise things.
Right.
That is bonkers. And you want to raise children or build a house together?
Sure. Well, but like, I mean, I guess playing devil's advocate, I have people who have both, maybe not, like I have a couple right now who has not had any physical infidelity, but one partner engaged in some sort of like murky emotional something.
Like with a frog?
No.
It's getting weird. I like murky. I've never heard murky. I like that because you're like, it sounds dirty and it's gross.
Yeah. Well, like it's...
I was like, murky.
It's like muddy.
I got you.
Like, it's not sexual or romantic, but it's more than friends. And so think of somebody like my personal best friend is more than a sister, less than a lover, but like more than like your best friend. You know, like it's she falls in a whole different category.
Yeah.
So I have a couple right now that has recently been working through partner A's emotional experience and trying to backtrack and identify and kind of put their finger on it while still very committed to their partner. And just recently, partner B was like, oh shit, I was super salty about this situation, but like I have also kind of recognized how you can have emotional feelings towards somebody while not having any desire to move forward or act on those things.
You mean to have like a romantic?
Right. And partner B is very much like, I am sexually and romantically potentially attracted to this person, but they're communicating with their partner and saying like, listen,
they must not have guns in their house. Holy shit.
It is, as a clinician, Thomas, it is so actually freaking mind-blowing, as well as like refreshing to be able to sit for 53 to 55 minutes and be like, so you're both not comfy. Like it's not
But
a
you're
sense
talking
of
about it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I mean, like, honestly, I got a little scared for him.
Sure. I got scared for both of them. That I was like, I'm sorry, in any
Murder.
other relationship that I have ever seen, blood would be shed.
Yeah.
I don't know in what capacity. I don't know if you're going to poke him with a pin or if she's going to paper cut you or like whatever.
Something's
like,
gonna
but
happen.
like, but they were both. It was beautiful in that
rare.
capacity that I was like, all right, so we have 3 options. We can work it out, we can end it, or we can explore something in the middle. And I do think that our culture is growing and developing to be able to kind of turn away generationally and kind of look at the gray, the dark gray, the light gray.
Well,
like,
if you're
and
being
try
honest.
That's
why I think people strive
hard.
so hard to have control over other people's, because they don't know what's going on in their head, because they already know how flawed they are. They're not flawed. How much their mind wanders, and they're so afraid that their mate is doing the same thing.
Right, but why? And I'm not pro monogamy or against monogamy, but it is unfortunate. This is the first couple that I have been able to clinically work with to say, we meet every 2 weeks. If we have door 1 that is staying together exclusively, door 2 that is breaking things off and separating because we want different things or we recognize different things, or door 3, I was like, 1, 2, C. Door 3 that is even exploring the idea of something different. This is the first couple that I have had that's like, why don't we pause? Because we could both jump to conclusions, but I want to make sure both parties were like, I want to make sure their needs are met and my needs are met, and that we are committed to whatever door. So by default, they almost picked 3. Not that that's what they wanted.
Because they actually love each other.
Yeah, but they're like, we have time.
We're
married. We're committed. What is...
That timeline shit makes me mental, man.
2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months? Like,
how long are you going to wait? Or how long would you work on something? I said, until I've exhausted things. Well, you should tell that person that... And I'm like, I look at them and go, what fucking planet does that work on?
Timelines have been a consistent thing for me this summer. Clinically, consistent.
It's like, okay, like, good luck. When's your kid going to walk? When's your kid going to, be able to go to the bathroom by himself? Like, it's... I'm so frustrated with humans right now because of their reactions and their selfishness, their continued selfishness of not being able to cope, not being able to deal with things, and putting it off on someone else to jump through hoops. It's like, I feel like it's like this. Dance for me. Well, what kind of dance? I don't know, just fucking dance. No, not that one. Keep dancing. Well, what would you prefer? No. Keep fucking... That's what it feels like when people are doing that shit to people.
Yeah.
They're demanding things without any explanation of what they actually need, because they don't know what they need. They're being selfish little children walking through a buffet, eating until they're bloated and still not happy or full. Does that make sense?
It does. It just makes me sad.
It makes me fucking sad because I had people...
Experience this summer. Yeah.
Well, it's just brutal because I hear these people talking and I'm like, you're doing this to a mate and you're being nicer to me than you probably are to them. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I had a very blessed summer personally.
Blessed.
Well, like, personally, I struggled. You and I had talked about that, and I don't know how deep into that we'll get this season, but
I'm sure the more we drink by episode 9.
Clinically, I had what I would identify as a very transparent and honest summer. I am very blessed. #blessed.
Hashtag
to have a good insightful and or motivated caseload right now.
Good.
To be able to come weekly. I have a couple people that come twice a week, every other week, once a month. Like, stop it. Are you serious?
It's been a long summer. Got some jokes there. Mike was going to do it. I saw him. Mike was like, oh, there's a joke there.
Twice a week? I don't know that we could # blessed.
I don't know. For some people. You're asking people to be twice a year. Twice in 2 years.
Okay. Well,
twice
that's a
in 10
whole
years.
other episode because that was another.
Holy shit.
I also I did some research this summer.
Oh, shit.
Took some inventory. But anyway. God damn it.
Yeah, I
what
know.
were we talking about?
You were talking about #blessed. You have some clients that are coming twice a week and really working on stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's what I was saying is some people are super motivated and I have been able to see a lot of growth and a lot of awareness.
Good.
And a lot of people say like, and growth and awareness does not always equal happy, healthy couples.
Oh, no. They're probably
And-
going to break up.
And that has been a hard realization, but I feel super successful as a clinician.
Yeah.
Almost when I help people come to the realization that like
Wrap it up.
we're not compatible or this is over. And I know I talked last season about like it's not my job to save your marriage or your relationship. Also not my job to break it up.
A little bit.
But it's not.
I'm kidding.
But
I'm
like,
kidding.
right?
It's
Yeah.
not her
Not
job.
like, listen.
joking.
I am adding my second clinician to my practice, like in the next month or two.
Nice.
Follow me.
No shit.
But
#blessed.
hashtag blast. But
outta here.
my stop it.
Oh, fuck. #not blessed.
You don't stop it.
I'm joking.
Oh my god.
Kinda. It was a rough fucking summer.
Listen.
I did get to ride my bike 4 times this year.
Oh my god.
That's it.
My goal this summer was to help people independently realize where they're at. And often that meant taking a step back. And that could be taking a step back and realizing that they love their partner and want to work on things.
I love when people work on things.
Yeah.
Because even if it doesn't work out, at least they're learning how to move through things. And they're actually, I'm very frustrated with parents and grandparents too that don't show their kids how to gracefully go through a breakup or gracefully treat one another. And then they wonder why their kids are such pieces of shit. Is that the nice way of saying it?
That was a way of saying
I'm just saying.
I mean, my
And then they look like,
15-year-old
I don't understand why these kids are doing this. I'm like, you don't understand.
I'm just gonna ghost her. Listen, my poor son.
Oof.
He's almost 16,
Yeah.
and he is a bleeding heart.
Oh, man.
Love him to
He's
death.
fucked.
He's so emotional.
Hashtag fucked.
Hashtag not
lots of
so
tears.
blessed.
Yeah.
But
Hashtag
yeah,
crying in your pillow.
I mean, he comes to me and he's like, "Mom, guess who's watched my Snapchat last night?"
Oh, fuck.
And ye who shall not be named.
Yeah.
On national
Yeah.
air.
Don't
But
roast
I'm
her.
like, don't. I insert name here.
Or
And he's
block
like,
'em.
yeah. They can't. That could be like. Can we talk about that?
Oh, God.
for a
That's
sec?
how,
like,
no, we'll
why
have a show.
can't?
No, listen, I had a guy yesterday or 2 days ago. He said, yeah, we posted this thing and this guy commented blah, 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 and he should have just mind his business. It's like, oh, mind his business. You put it on the fucking internet.
For all to see.
Or at least on Snapchat, same thing. You know what I mean? You put it out there for everybody to
Still
fucking
the
see.
internet.
Like, you can block people. You can, like, curate this. You can curate your life.
Yes.
I don't know if people understand that, and I've definitely understood that. I don't respond to people. Like, I've learned so much this summer. Like, I used to feel like I had to respond to everything because I didn't want to let somebody down.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, we
I
talked
just
about
don't
that,
care.
right? Yeah.
I just don't care. You'll be okay. I promise. You won't wilt up and die. Learn this. But, like, when they put things out, like, he could block her. Block her.
So what he told me is that he can't block her because she blocked him, but they're still in a group chat. But like I've done this
group
whole
chat.
listen.
Do you
I've
think
done
we're
this
grandmas? Like, we
again.
don't know how to do this?
Again. Whole like if I were to go for my PhD, now would be the time because I'm like this close. I just need to decide what my like thesis would be.
Me.
Could be in Thomas.
Fuck. Hashtag fuck.
Diagnosis question
Oh,
mark.
man.
We don't have time. I don't have time for that. I love you, but I don't have
It'd be
time.
brutal.
It would be so bad.
Ooh.
But I have had so many conversations about sharing information this summer. It's a real thing. Sharing location, read receipts.
I've been asking people since our last show.
Oh my god!
I've been asking people that, like, do you have locations on? And some people are like, fuck no.
No.
And other people are like, yes, of course. What if something happens, Thomas?
What?
You know what I told a lady?
Listen.
You want me to tell you what I told a lady?
Obviously,
It was
my
probably brutal,
opinion is
right?
pretty strong.
It was brutal. She's like, well, what if something happens? I go, I know where to find the dead body.
The morgue.
I mean, they looked at me. I go, what do you want? Like, it's
Emergency
crazy.
room.
Like, just
Someone will call you.
just admit.
I promise. I don't watch the news
Ugh.
of things that happen in Philadelphia, New York,
No.
Seattle.
Yeah,
like
don't
somebody
care.
will call me.
Yeah. So when people don't know how to block people or they refuse to block people, and I've been there. I've definitely been there, and I've learned, like, I don't care. I had a girl the other day say that this guy hit her up somewhere. And her social media doesn't mention anything about being married. And next thing you know, he's getting...
But she is married.
No, she's not married.
Oh, okay.
Some dude hit her up, friend requested her, whatever. She's single. And he, she liked a picture. Like normal people do when they're starting to flirt with each other or starting to do whatever.
That was her motive?
I don't know. I think she might have just liked a picture. Some people just like pictures. I don't know. I quit doing that a couple years ago.
was gonna say,
I've
that's
learned
foreign
my
to me,
fucking
but,
lesson.
like,
I'm not
sure.
doing that shit anymore. And
I don't
learned
like
it.
the opposite sex's picture
No.
unless they're like with their partner or their children or like
Or
something
you're
that is
single.
so
Yeah,
right.
she's single. So and she
Okay.
thought he was
More
single.
power to you.
Well, next thing you know, she's getting a message from his wife.
Oh,
And she
That's
didn't respond to
forward.
her. She sent it to him and didn't say anything else. I go, did you unfriend him? She's like, "Well, no. And I go, you should unfriend him. And I saw her struggle with it. And it baffled me a little bit. And I was like, you should unfriend him.
why? Why should she?
Because she's being a
Riddle
catty
me
girl.
this.
I love her. I do.
Yeah.
She's awesome. You know what I mean? She's feisty. But, you know, she's a nice girl. I've watched her
she
grow
know
up.
he was
You
married?
know? No, not until the wife messaged her.
What I need to know the context
So I'll
of the message.
like, hey, I need to know how you know my husband. One of those messages.
Insert. I went to high school with him.
She didn't. He just friend requested her on Facebook.
Okay.
One of
Because I'm
those.
like, I wouldn't unfriend. Like immediately, somebody came to mind
No. She
that is
didn't really
not
know
super
him.
active on Facebook, but every once in a blue moon pops up. I like his stuff all the time. I'm married with children.
Yeah.
He's married with children.
But you're liking pictures of him and his wife, right?
Only.
Yeah.
Ever.
Isn't that crazy?
Like if it is not the opposite sex
This is
with
where
an animal, a child, or a significant
group.
other,
Yeah, so this is my thing. This is where I struggle as humans. How authentic are we ever living our lives?
oh, Thomas.
Yeah, it's gross, ain't it?
I have honest to God, ironically, I have started complimenting people on being unapologetically authentic. Like,
Yeah.
and I have been that way, but I am not consistently
You
that
had to
way.
tone it down. You have to. If you don't tone it down, people hate you.
People want to squish you. That's the words that I use. Is like,
I
and I don't
feel
mean to be
so-
cliche of
No,
like you're too much, be less, like whatever. But like, I know that I can be intense. I know that I can be annoying. I know that I can be too much. But like, too much for who? I don't want you in my circle. And so this whole entire summer, I have very strategically and intentionally taken a step back. And I know you and I have spent hours on the phone to say, if you are not in my corner cheering me on, I don't want you anywhere near me.
No, and I don't want you to co-sign my bullshit.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't need people with a t-shirt on that says my name's throwing tomatoes at me.
That's
Like-
a good way to put it.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't need
I'm
somebody.
fortunate I don't have that much, but I will say this. People like to make me feel small.
It's so
It's usually
easy.
somebody I'm dating.
It's
not normally my friends.
It is. It's so easy to have
Is that
seasonal people.
Is that common?
Yes.
I'm saying, is it
seasonal
common for
people
mates to
who-
constantly, like, I don't know if they know they're even doing it.
No, they're not like going with that like metaphor. Metaphor?
I don't know.
Sure. Like, it's not like they're standing in the stands feet yards away lobbing tomatoes at you. They're on the corner, on the sidelines, or like saying like, "Ugh, are you okay? I don't know. They might get you." Like,
Yeah.
placing doubt and confidence in like this push or pull, fight or flight shit.
It's bizarre
And like
to me.
that,
Because
that
if you
is
talked
what
about their
I
best friend
don't
that way, they would want to murder you.
die. And I mean, I say that about one.
Yeah.
Like we have had this conversation that I have a best friend,
That's it.
one best friend. There's probably 3 people that are like in my inner circle.
Yeah. I
That
got a
like
crew.
at my most mature, done. Like I mean, like it doesn't matter if they called me, whatever it was that they needed, I would just be there.
Right.
Outside of that, like you're an idiot. I love you. I'll bail you out, but I'm not embarking
Yeah.
on
I
your.
think I'm more like with the mate thing, like why you have to tear each other down, or you have to like.
because they have to make sure that you're on their level, or like a half a step below.
I feel
Those
like
are the ones that are dangerous.
Yeah. It's frustrating. Like, I feel like I'm mentally more aware and mentally more healthy than I've ever been, but I feel more dead inside than I've maybe ever felt in the same breath. It's the weirdest feeling where I'm just like in a weird influx of like, I'm gray. I'm not dark, but I'm not light. I'm just like, I exist. I love my life. I love, what I'm #blessed. I know I have a great life, but I don't know if I've turned off every valve where I'm just not feeling. You know what I mean? Where I'm just not. It's
we could
a weird.
have a whole conversation about that. So that's sad, and I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm not.
B, I know
You
you're
know,
not sad, and so that's what I was
yeah.
gonna say. We
I have
could go
sad
like
moments, but I'm not like
all
I'm
the
not
way to like.
devastated. Yeah,
I think I told you like my clinical theory on like ASD, and like if you're not happy, sad, or mad, you're nothing.
yeah, I'm here.
Like, and so like that's.
yeah,
But like you have to like those are you're running off of a primary color wheel. You're not mad, you're not sad, you're not happy. So it's not that you're numb, you're just none of those 3.
it's weird.
So by default, I know.
In a
that could
recording
be-
studio, like you guys
I
can't
know.
see this, but this is out here is a big ass recording studio, and it's the same thing. Like if sounds will cancel each other out,
Yep.
literally, there's nothing.
Yep.
And
And my clients that do watch this and do turn in, they'll be like, "Oh, she's told me that," because I have like a small
Yeah.
handful
it's
working. I am not a specialist, but that is something that I individually have noticed that when I verbalize that,
Yeah.
people who are likely on the spectrum are like, "Oh shit, that." That like all of the people that I interact with act like they have this whole rainbow, right? Of like all of the, like think of the color wheel, right? Like all of these emotions. And I'm like, no, most people I've talked to
You can mix 200
have
some colors from 3.
Yellow, red, blue.
Period.
That's
it.
all you have.
That's
and
all the
like
colors there are.
hues,
There's
intensity.
no other colors. That's it.
And if they don't feel those things, there is a lack of emotion, which then they're just baseline, not numb, not a zombie, just like
Yeah.
at content.
I'm
Maybe?
dude, listen, I sleep pretty good. I eat good. I
See,
exercise
that's
good.
what I mean. Like it could be a whole. We could do a whole season on that. But I think it's ironic this season because you are settling into whatever that like middle of your wheel, we'll say, is.
Yeah.
I have laughed, cried,
Yeah.
mourned more in the last couple of months than I ever have.
That's hilarious.
I am so emotionally charged recently. that like
I must be just giving it all over to you. Like, hey, just hold
so like
this for a while.
this season, listen, I would like
When you're done
to
with it,
think
bring it
that
back.
I would like to think that I will not cry this season, but I cannot guarantee that because I am actively working on bringing my walls down in order to be emotionally vulnerable, not for other people's benefit, but for my own.
Yeah.
Because I am in control of myself and my own safety, and I am choosing not to give that to other people. And sometimes that emotional boundary is important.
Yeah.
Just because I let my walls down doesn't mean that you can hurt me. I'm choosing to let my walls down.
Yeah, I definitely have no walls up. I'm just standing in the middle of a fucking field at this point. But I've definitely alienated myself to the point where there's not much getting lobbed at me anymore, which is good, you know.
Because you're alone in the field? There's
Alone.
not even anybody out there in the field with you.
No, I'm like in the middle of Badlands, just standing there. But I don't mind that.
I know.
But I will say this. I had a client the other day saying that, they're like, well, they understand I'm going through a lot of shit. I said, just because you're going through some shit don't mean you get to torture everybody in your life. I said, I've had one of the hardest years of my entire life. Mm-hmm. And I will say this. That doesn't mean that everybody around me gets a shitty version of me. And I'm tired of people using that as an excuse to be a shitty person. Just because you're having a bad day, you should... If you want a strong family and you want strong friends, showing them how you can gracefully go through a breakup or gracefully go through a loss of any kind that irritates you, that normally you would fold in half and be a dick and be like, I'm having a fucking bad day. Okay, when you go to Burger King and somebody doesn't give you good service, don't be pissed because they're going through some shit.
Yeah.
Well, they're at work. Well, you're with your fucking loved one, motherfucker.
Right, that's
you know
right.
what I mean? So, like, I think we should be more accountable for that and show people how to gracefully go through some shit. Because I will say this. My kids and my grandkids and my friends and family have not got a shittier version of me this year. They haven't. I'm
That's
loving
impressive.
with them, and because
That's
I
intentional.
purpose, it is
Yeah.
100% intentional because I owe it to them as the leader of our family. That I owe it to them to show them that, like, if my dad can do this through a very hard time, anybody can. You know, or we can. We have that tool in our toolbox. Quit giving your kids shitty, fucked up, rusty tools and broken tools,
Ooh,
right? Because that's what you're doing. Give them good tools,
we need a notebook.
right?
Future episodes.
Right, but show them. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to tell you what, I've seen it. And my kids will always have that in their toolbox. They can pull that hammer out anytime they fucking want and go, no. Because learning how to explain it to a way that people can understand it. That's why this show even exists, because people told me you have a way of explaining things so most people can understand them. If you can justify being a dick because you're going through a breakup or you lost a job or your dog died or your cat died, and those are sucky things, and I've had all those things happen to me.
Sure.
Okay? It does not justify you being a shithead. You can say this, I need some time, I want to be alone. Cool.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to be snappy and be shitty. Go eat some food, take a walk in the fucking park, and be around the people you actually love.
Yeah.
And if you think it's okay to have bad behavior, don't be surprised when people avoid you. Don't be surprised when your kids do the same thing. We're going to kill people this year on this show because literally there's so many things that I've talked with people about that I can't wait to talk about. Quit doing dumb shit like being shitty to your parents and then wondering why your kids don't talk to you. Because you literally taught them how to be shitty to your own family.
Intergenerational stuff has come up a lot.
Oh my,
this
dude,
summer.
I've watched it like crazy with people. They're like, why won't my kid even talk to me? You know? And I'm like, you just told me how much you hate your own fucking dad or your own
right.
mother.
You haven't had Christmas or a holiday with your parents in
And you wonder why your kids don't want to be around you?
7 years since your child was 3. They
You
don't
literally
even,
showed them how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told people, I'm like, are you oblivious to this? Because they are. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people. What I have positively reframing. What I have found a lot this summer is people are motivated to be called on their shit, and like it is in my Psychology Today profile. Like, I am blunt.
Yeah.
I am not the clinician for everybody.
Right.
I don't see a benefit and beating around the bush. I'm not known to like offend people clinically, but like I just don't see it. And so when people come to me and they're motivated, it is often that like they share, I reflect, and then we both giggle. And I'm like, you heard that, right? Like you just say that again. One more time with your whole chest. Yeah. You have not gone to your parents for 3 years, and now you're showing up with your girlfriend of 3 months, and your mom wants to know who the fuck. Like,
and like it's not weird,
right? That is weird. Yeah. That is weird.
Or they just want to know, like, why are you offended by everything that somebody?
Curious,
and I'm not one of those people like everybody's so offended, but like, people get mad if somebody walks through your yard. Like, if there's no context.
There is a couple dogs in my neighborhood that shit in my yard every day. I have 2 dogs now. Other people's dogs shitting in my yard pisses me off.
They're being dogs.
It pisses me off. I'm not going to lie.
Right, but like, they're just being dogs.
Right. Sure.
They're just being
like,
dogs.
And every day I have to be like, oh my God, they're just freaking dogs. They're just dogs. You know how often squirrels shit in my yard?
All day.
All day, every day. It doesn't bother me.
All day.
So, like,
Mike has actually got rid of every squirrel in his entire neighborhood.
Michael.
Yeah. It's crazy. He, like, traps them, and he takes them to other neighborhoods.
Okay. All right.
It's weird.
Well, but anyway, so yeah, like, I have had to work on a lot of intergenerational stuff due to boomers, millennials, Gen Z, like, I mean, like a lot of
they claim a lot of this shit.
Expectations. The world is changing. Like, that is something that is fundamentally true.
It's real.
And so I very much like to work with young adults, millennials, and boomers, even if they're open to it. I only have a couple, but like trying to understand how the world is changing, and people who are open to like, let me understand.
Or if you want to have a relationship with your grandchildren.
Yeah, this is how I was raised, and this is new, and I don't understand, and I am not perfect. And so...
And I'm that cross, like, generation of raised extremely hard, yet seeing all the change in just
Gen
my
X.
lifetime.
Is that what you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen, I was raised crazy. Like, I was telling stories of my buddy's wife the other day, and she's just sitting there like mouth open, and I'm just talking, and I'm like,
so it's boomers who are old school, pretty traditional, but like whatever, and then it's you, and then it's me, and I'm at the like upper end of the millennials. I always joke that I'm like the worst millennial. I don't know shit. I don't want to know shit. I don't want to know how to use anything. Like, I'm at the top. I
was hard until MTV.
I loved MTV.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like, it was hard, and then you start seeing things differently.
The world.
Yeah.
Then you saw the world.
You start seeing things differently. Cable TV. Start seeing things. But I still have that respect for the boomers. But I also have empathy. I have empathy for both. But the younger people... Yeah, older people complaining about younger people is just as much garbage as complaining about older people. But the older people, I feel mad about. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
But we can do better. I've learned how to walk around that and, like, explain it to them better. I'm like, well, then why aren't you trying to understand it or explaining it better to the way they understand it? I mean, it's not that hard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a couple right now that explained it super well. I think it was, like, last week or the week before that they were like, Gen Z, they're like, just like every single generation that comes out has pros and cons.
Yeah.
Are they changing the world in some ways? Absolutely. Like, they are breaking barriers. They are moving mountains in some ways. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And in other ways, they're like dying on every single hill that they have identified.
So
it's right. Right.
Every
so did
generation.
Millennials, so did Gen X, so did Boomers. Like, everybody, they have their generational flair.
Yeah.
And, like,
it's hard.
Literally flares.
Ric
because flares are... Flares are back. I wore flares, and I remember when I wore them,
I've
my
seen
mom
them
was
go
like,
in and out
"Hey,
3 times
listen,
in
I
my
have
lifetime.
flares on right now. I love flares.
times.
I would.
3 times in my
I
life.
will relish every time the flare comes in because I love a good flare.
I love a good skinny jean. So, I've seen them 3 times go in and
That
out.
makes sense. 70s,
Yeah.
2000s.
Oh yeah, the Christina
And now.
Aguilera days.
Yep.
No,
So
we
that's-
were
well,
there
that's
was this
where
much
I
of your
was.
pants.
Oh, all the way down. So I really enjoy the high rise big bottom.
I don't know exactly what she's trying to explain, but
Listen.
that's cool. I'm a skinny jeans guy. I even like skinny jeans on girls. I kind of like athletic fit girls.
Yeah.
You know, that vibe. Actually,
I would
don't
love
like-
to fit that
I don't like
vibe.
any girls right now. I find it interesting. So hey, we got a telephone number.
We do. Where is it?
It's right here.
Oh, you still have it.
Yeah, I still
I
have it.
want it.
You want one?
I do
You
want
could probably
one.
read yours
Jay?
without glasses. Yeah.
Mike.
So ready? 234-200-5949. We need to have, tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear on the show this season.
Who do you want to see?
Who do you want to see? If you want us to bring anybody back from last season,
Mm-hmm.
vote for them. Do some dope shit. I don't know.
What kind of people? What kind
Yeah.
of guests?
I think we're going
We
to
should have a
not
couple.
have quite, oh my God.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, we got to have that guy on. We're going to bring you on, bud.
Oh, Lord.
Is it Gavin?
Gavin. It was not Kevin.
It was Gavin. So Gavin, we're going to get a hold of you for season 2. I will say this. We probably won't have as many guests as we did last season. We're probably going to try something a little different this year.
Switching it up.
This season. But we're going to try some different stuff. If you have some suggestions that are reasonable, cool. If you don't, keep them to your fucking self.
Or could
I'm
we
not
read
gonna
them
be
and
nice.
just say those aren't cool?
I'm not going to be nice this season, just to let you know. It's a darker Thomas this season. Maybe
Oh,
next season
I'm gonna try to
I'll be
be
nicer.
nicer.
She's all full of rainbows and
I
butterflies.
am full of growth and
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah. I'm full of piss and vinegar. It's cool.
Who pissed in your tree? No, that's all.
No.
We will
Nobody really
not
did that.
be
I will say
naming
this.
names.
There was some serious good growth this summer, but there's also some, I think because my brain's in overdrive right now of trying to unravel what we've been doing to each other over these years, and I think we can do better, and I'm losing my patience with it.
The greater we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that in relationships, we should stop being so selfish and abusive and truly
Absolutely.
love each other a little bit more and treat people like we'd want people to treat our children. And it's super important, and quit demanding things out of people you can't explain why you need them. I don't feel like that's fair.
If you can't define it, don't.
I think
Demand
it's fair.
it.
No, it's ridiculous. That's
Ooh, we
that's
should
the
make that a
basis.
t-shirt.
It's the basis of
Those
a
are
lot
our
of
mugs.
super bad behavior. And all it does is torture people. And if somebody was doing that to somebody you loved, you would be extremely upset with them. Yet you do
Yeah.
it to your mate, and you do it to the mother and father of your children, somebody you love, somebody that you trade gravy with, that you're intimate with.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is borderline disgusting. And honestly, protect the brand. Love each other, man. Like, it's a big deal. I've learned a lot, man. And you really need to, like, be conscious of that shit. But you also need to give somebody grace as well if they're not understanding it. It doesn't mean you just lob off their head. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
You have to, like, work through that, because until someone understands it, they just don't understand it. Unless they're just being defiant and like, fuck you. But nobody, it's, okay, ready?
Yeah.
This is what here's my new saying. Talking to somebody is like landing a plane. It is all about your approach. You can land a plane a lot of different ways, right?
I don't know. I'm not a pilot.
I'm going
I
to
know
assume you can land a
literally
plane.
nothing about
Okay.
landing a plane.
You can land it very easily, calmly,
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
you can land it with straight on its belly and skid it across the entire fucking runway.
What I suppose that's
You
a
can
good
land a
metaphor,
house-
because the guy is going like this regardless.
Right.
Like, let me have it.
Right,
What do you
right.
got?
Or you can
Okay,
come in
yeah.
hot,
Yeah.
or you can come in beautifully where everybody's like, that was a great landing.
Yeah, right.
So when you're talking to somebody, be conscious of how you're speaking to them. Because I don't know about you, but as soon as somebody comes at me hard, it's instantly hard back.
I don't receive that well.
And the way I was raised,
In my best day.
I don't care how nice I am.
Mm-hmm.
You come at me hard. If you come at me nice, I will talk to you.
It's hard for me to get mad.
Be
I would have to like create an emotional reaction.
shitty, yeah.
Right, yeah.
But most of the time, it's like if they're being sincere and being kind about it. And here's the other thing. This is the best communication things I've witnessed this summer. Don't tell people. Ask them questions. Ask them, hey, is there a reason for this? Or what's going on with this? Mm-hmm. That hits a lot different than, you fucking keep doing that. I'm just gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
That hits totally different. So if you ask them like, hey, what's going on with this? Like if somebody likes your friend's picture or your boyfriend or girlfriend's picture, or somebody sends them a Snapchat, go, hey, should I be concerned about that, or what's going on with that? Not, who in the fuck is that?
Well, I guess my continued approach is if you have to ask that, like even you did. I
have people in my shop doing it to each other, and I'm sitting there tattooing, going, "What the fuck?"
You did fantastic of like taking an open approach, but like at a certain point, I would say even that as a clinician would be concerning. I literally had a session this week already. It is Tuesday that we're recording.
Yeah.
So yesterday had a whole couples conversation about like, do you trust your partner? And they're like, yeah. Which I would say 90% believe. I believe, or I guess I think they
Close
believe
enough.
that 90%.
Right?
Yeah, right. Do you...
You're not like this.
No.
Like right in their face.
Like, listen, they volunteered this information and they did not have to.
Right.
Like, they brought it. Right. But I also asked them, like, do you trust this third party person? Because it's a mutual person. So even if lines were pressed by your partner, would the other person check them? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, okay, well, that's a completely different conversation than like what's going on. They've been together for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So I guess like I get to the point, or have gotten to the point this summer relationally, we're like, if we are to the point where we're saying, hey, what's this? Even, I'm not saying it's too far gone, but like that's like more than just a check engine light coming on.
You think? What if it's in its infancy?
I guess it depends on who initiated. No, I renege. I don't think so.
Right.
I think if anything throws a red flag in the column of infidelity.
Right. But if it's somebody else's actions?
Yes.
Well, I mean, how do you...
Listen, I will speak from personal experience. Like my husband, we have had multiple conversations about boundaries in regards to my boundaries.
Right.
Not his, but like, hey, this situation poked or pressed a boundary of mine, and yours are different.
Yeah.
It did not cross his own boundaries. Like he had his own. He didn't do anything wrong, but it got a little too touchy for me.
Right.
So we sat down and had a conversation, and then he moved his back. Mm. And I realized that, like, even though he moved his back, it doesn't have to be a fucking electric fence. Like, it's a soft boundary. There is a lot of wiggle room from where my boundary is to, like, all the way over here where I would be, like, actually emotionally reactive.
Gotcha.
So I would say, like, yes, in most situations, if you feel the need to bring to a person, hey, what is this? I would be curious as to what the underlying issue even is.
Right.
Are we talking about a message? How'd you see it? Did you go through their phone?
There's a lot of things, man.
Did it pop up on their screen?
It gets real shaky real quick.
Are you stalking their comments on their picture that somebody else posted?
Spiderweb gets real big.
I know. But, like, if you posted a picture of you and I and didn't tag me, do you know, I I would have to go to your page, to your pictures to see who commented and then click on it and see.
That's a lot.
Like that's doing
shady.
a lot.
That's shady.
That's doing a lot.
I'll say this. I had a young man in, and he was nice, and he was talking about summer. I was like, how's your summer going? Like, normal conversation. He's like, yeah. And he goes, I'm just kind of working on me. I said, bad breakup, huh? He looked at me. I was like, nobody says that shit.
It's like the tag on your t-shirt.
Yeah, dude. Like, come on.
Working on me.
Yeah. Just taking some time for me.
Yeah.
And we were talking about stuff, and he's a nice guy. He's like, I go, it's hard to, are you having a hard time finding some? He's like, yeah. Well, I said, he's a real nice, you get to tell he's a super nice guy. And I go, are you the back burner for a lot of girls? And he's like, what do you mean? I go, how many girls message you complaining about their shitty boyfriends? And he just looked at me like this, like, fuck, get out of my head. I go, how many times have you picked up a girl at a bar because she was too drunk and somebody left her? And then the next day, you checked on her. She didn't even message you to thank her, and thank him. And he was like this. I go, it's happened more than once, huh? And he goes, oh my God. I go, yeah, stop being that. Quit watering plants that aren't yours. And I explained it to him best. I said, you know why? You think you're being nice, and it's entertaining.
Sure.
And you're being kind. But I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna meet a girl you really love and you really like and you enjoy to be around, and your Snapchat's gonna go off from some girl that literally doesn't mean anything to you, and she's gonna go, who's that? And you'll be like, oh, it's this girl. How do you know her? I don't really know her. Why is she messaging you? And you're not gonna have an answer, and you didn't do anything. But guess what you are gonna have to do? It's like having drugs in your car that belong to someone else and you don't do drugs.
Well, right. It's like your friend's friend that left him in the back seat. Not even your passenger. That's like your.
And the
boy
cops
that,
are like, "What's up with these drugs?
Like,
they're not mine."
Didn't even know they were back there.
Right. So I told him that, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Stop it." I said, "You're gonna literally."
Yeah.
Put yourself in a position. I have another thing that I was talking to a young man about, and we'll finish up with this. I've watched him. I'm working on whole sleeves, so I've seen him grow, as a young man, and he's from a little bit southern of here, and he wants to buy some land and build a house and all this stuff, and he's doing well. He works, at a big company down there, and he does well. And he gets more serious every time. And when he was like, hey, what do you think of this land? What do you think? And I was like, man, you're like talking to a realtor, like shit's real.
Yeah.
And I go, what's your plans for this? He's like, I just want some land. I'm going to build a house, blah, blah, blah. I like to hunt. I said, do you hunt now? He's like, yeah, I can hunt on like 300 acres. I was like, what do you think 5 acres is going to do for you?
Why do you want this land?
Right. But where he's from,
right, yeah.
it's a
status thing, I would imagine.
It's not even just a status. It's even more. It's expected. It's part of your...
Where is your...
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
And I go, don't build a house, bud. I go, do you want to get married one day? He's like, yeah, I'd love to get married, have kids one day. He's not dating anybody, but he's like, he's just one of those boys that, they get married, they want to have,
Here's my checklist.
You grew up in kind of that area.
I did. My dad's side.
Yeah, normal. And it's beautiful, you know what I mean? And I go, don't build a house. And he goes, what? I go... If you build a house before you get married, you're going to end up selling the house that you loved and having to rebuild a house with her. And he's like, wait, what? And I go, yeah.
Thomas, you're so jaded.
Sorry. And I said, and I don't blame her. Okay, I don't blame her because he's like, but what if it's the house I always wanted? I go, you always wanted. But if you want your wife to be happy, she's going to need to be in a house that she loves. And he just looked at me and I was like, just
put a trailer on the lot.
You know what I told him to do?
What?
I said, he's young and he likes to have fun, drink beer, and drive a side-by-side. I go stay at a damn campground, dude. Go rent one of those campgrounds and have a great summer until you find somebody you want to settle with. Because if you can live with a girl in a camper all summer and y'all don't want to kill each other.
We didn't even talk about that last season, and I know you wanted to. Until you travel with somebody.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying, though? But if a girl came and stayed at your camper every week with you and y'all don't want to kill each other, she's probably dope. You probably love the shit out of her. You probably build a house with her, not fight with her too much.
I know. I'm going to have to process that.
Yeah, that shit's true. That's what I know. I got you. No, I there's obviously exceptions, but...
Yeah, all right. To be continued.
Yeah.
If you built your own house, I would like to believe that it's different, but you are not wrong in the fact that men and women have different priorities and goals. I know a very a very consistent theme, a golden thread that I have seen in clinical work relationally is if you had a home with another previous partner,
Stupid.
that's hard. You know, like
Stupid.
So
Also, I had
we
my
have
dick
to,
in
like-
someone else. I'm gonna be blunt.
I know.
It's the dumbest shit in the world. It's trying to control somebody. Listen,
Say
I
the
understand
phone
why.
number again.
I understand why you would want. Just put it on the screen. They could
Just
fucking
put
read.
it on the screen.
So listen, I understand why a woman would want a house with someone. I truly do, and I think it is a part of this whole growth. And we've been taught that you build a house together.
Nah.
You do.
Sometimes it's just not compatible. Like, listen, I love my husband to the fucking heavens and back. I hate our house with the passion of the devil. Like,
Right.
we have 7 people that live in our house.
Yeah.
Our house is not built for 7 people.
Most houses aren't.
And like, no houses are built for 7 people.
No.
But like, he bought it when it was just the 3 of them.
Made sense.
We had a house of 4. So he bought it and was super proud of it. And now I'm like, this doesn't, like, you walk in, the coat closet isn't big enough. The living room is
Nothing
stupid. It's a ranch, the basement, the bathroom, like everything.
Yeah.
So
I understand, and listen,
Yeah,
I do
right.
understand it because the woman also wants to have skin in the game. She doesn't want to be felt like she could be, kicked
Yeah.
out.
I mean, I
dude,
can-
I'm not
right, I
saying
get
I was
it.
just telling it. I wasn't being a dick. I was like, I was actually from a loving place. I was like, if you want to honor your wife, you go.
I meant it.
You
Like,
could,
just
you
put
could
a
say,
trailer on
I
the-
bought
on the
this
lot.
land. I bought this land.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to build a house until we do it together. And I'm not saying that in a shitty way, but he just looked at me like, he goes, but I'm pretty stubborn. I said, then you shouldn't get fucking
listen,
married.
then build your house.
And tell her to fuck off.
Build your house, get
Yeah.
a dog,
Be
have
single.
a side by side, you'll be fine.
Yeah, have a side piece,
Right.
a side by side piece. But I wasn't saying it in a shitty way. I don't want to come across like a
No.
shitty way. But like
Right.
honestly, these are things that we don't talk about or think about because as a man, you would think that like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and a girl will find me attractive and find me more as a
Which is
high.
is true, but they don't realize that that's like step A.
Yeah, then they want to dismantle you, rebuild you how they want you. It's like those are nice Legos.
Even
I like what you built
stop
there.
it.
Hold on.
Even in a positive reframe way, speaking from personal experience, like I dated my husband who had a house, had a job, like and
Very
those
attractive.
were things that I was looking for. Like I own a couple vehicles and my own home and have a master's and like all of these things, and I'm not looking for a project. Been there,
I get it.
done that, right?
Yeah.
He checked all my boxes, and then we kind of like evaluated, let's look at your house for 7 people, let's look at my house for 7 people.
It just had to be a little bit better.
Damn it, just this.
Yeah. And I'm not
this
saying
much.
it wasn't. I
know.
wasn't even being shitty about it. But
No, right.
I'm saying this because I can save you a lot of time and money.
Yes, like just don't. My parents who got divorced did it the right way.
Yeah.
They bought a plot, put a single wide, like put a trailer on their lot, lived in there while they built their house.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect for him. It just
100%.
live on your land so that you're not
'Cause I was
paying
proud of
something
him.
else.
You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you're doing
Tell
it.
him to live on a camper
Yeah. That's what I told him.
on
bro.
his land.
But I
That
was
way
like,
he doesn't
dude,
have
but-
to pay rent.
I
I
told
mean,
him it'd be fun at the
hot boy
campground.
summer.
Yeah, it'd be fun at the campground. Your friends.
Full
would-
circle.
Guess
Hot
what?
boy summer.
No DUIs.
That's true.
You get to hang out at the campground. And he's an outdoors guy. He likes to fish and stuff.
Oh, well,
that's
so
why I
maybe
was
there
like,
would be somebody who would he enjoy.
Exactly. But I just I
Tinder-
want people to
Tinder
be
for
more
fishermen.
honest with people, like honest in a way, like honest with yourself, not with the other person. Be honest with yourself.
That's
what
a
you
whole,
need.
That's so much harder.
Yeah, because again, we
We're
put
gonna
it
have
off
to
on
pick that apart
everybody
this
else.
season.
We
Yeah.
put it off on everybody else.
We do.
All right. Well, this is the beginning of season 2. We got some things coming. We're gonna be
Big
doing some
things.
advertising on here this season, which is pretty dope. Some funny advertising, I have a hunch. Mike and Justin are holding it down in there somewhere. Put the number up. There's a number down here. Text us.
There it is.
Yeah, send us a text message. Tell us what you like. What you don't like. Actually, I don't really care.
Don't share that.
I'm just kidding. Not really. It's going to be a very spicy season this season. So, Kelly, thanks for coming back for season 2.
Oh, well, sure.
It looks
Glad
a little
to be
different in here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a little deeper than we did last season and go a little harder because it's time. It's almost 2024. Let's get our shit together.
I mean,
Yeah.
no time like the present.
All right. Be good. Be nice to each other. Quit being fucking assholes. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
guys.
See ya.